the street. We carry the police them know where we went. So which means if one ain't come back, another one supposed to know where we went. Right? And all that we give the police even voice note from the guy saying, well, when they was there doing whatever they were doing, he see two-man approach out and now we and start a fire shot. Well, if two are you and two gunmen come and you didn't get a scratch from the gunman or something, right?
Mr. Lee said he is not pleased with the level of investigation from the police and want them to do more.
We need to reach what's got it. I ain't seen a sign of nothing. And that's why the police, them know he lying. And that's why they know they should be investigating him more serious.
Based on everything that you know and what you suspect, you.
I know that.
Mr. Lee said at this stage, he no longer considers his son a missing person, but a murdered person. Up to Newstime Monday, there was no response by police to Mr. Lee's claims, and Jesse Lee is still listed as a missing person. Jesse's father said he and members of the community continue to search for his son. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
As container shipping companies begin recovering from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, importers of various products are beginning to experience hikes in shipping costs. This global experience is resulting from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the supply chains and the trade channel. According to a report from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, the surge in container rates could send consumer prices 1.5% higher next year, but warned that the actual impact could vary by product, country, and region. Already there have been some reports of hikes in container shipping rates in the region, and Giselle Brisbane, president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, confirmed that cost increases are being experienced with container shipping into the Federation.
Well, in some areas, I guess it depends on the lines, but they're all facing similar challenges. So, some as much as 50% in terms of a 40-foot container load that might have been coming in. So if, let's say you were bringing a container directly from China, there are those persons who have said that they have gone from, 4,000 to 10,000 US on a 40-footer. I think it's even gone further. Another area that we see increases in rental of the container fees. You would have had before a certain amount of time that you can offload that and hold it until maybe a 2-week period, and there were no sort of restrictions or fines on that. We're seeing an imposition of fines from the freight carriers on those demurrament charges that they're now enforcing on importers. So there are several areas that we're seeing changes in how they are operating and trying to recover every dollar, in that industry that we didn't see before.
According to the UNCTAD report, a continued surge in container shipping costs could reduce growth rates in major world economies. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
When we come back, a tourism official is calling for patience, as it is expected that cruise passengers will spend less this season.
Don't miss St. Kitts Nevis' biggest Black Friday sale. Novemberland Electronics Store Buster Deals, 20 to 25% off store-wide. Save big on electronics, gadgets and appliances from some of the world's top name brands. Doors open at 7 a.m. sharp at both stores. This is St. Kitts Nevis' biggest Black Friday sale, 20 to 25% off store-wide. One day only, November 26th, only at Smart Electronics on Port Zante and Highland Electronics on 4th Street. Conditions apply. COVID-19 protocols will be observed.
If you need effective advertising at affordable prices, you need to advertise with SKN Newsline. We offer a wide range of services: TV advertising, video ad production, social media marketing and management, WhatsApp marketing, digital marketing, and much more. We offer a comprehensive marketing package to suit your budget. Call our advertising department at 665-7456, 661-2008, or 663-8887. Get your message out on our newscast on the cable channel 95 and or online networks. Weekdays at 7 p.m. SKN Newsline. Martin made it easy. Welcome back. While steps were taken to resolve a concern of Port Zante merchants, a tourism official indicates that cruise passengers are keen to spend less. Glenn Bart reports.
A concern of several retail operations in the bubble on Port Zante has been addressed, said Raquel Brown, the Chief Executive Officer of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority. Several weeks ago, when cruise ships began docking at Port Zante, following the restart of cruise tourism in the Federation, coming out of a COVID-19 impacted global cruise industry, cruise passengers returning from bubble tours had no opportunity to walk through Port Zante and perhaps engage in some shopping, several merchants told SK Newsline. However, CEO Brown said the authority heard the concern and addressed the issue.
The tour buses were returning to the drop-off nearby the loading area, which is basically where you come off of the gangway and you would turn right, because we no longer have the western side. When Celebrity Equinox came for the first 2 calls, that's how it was. When we had our first call on November 1st, we got feedback from Port Zante merchants. And by the second week of November, that was changed. The drop-off area has now been included to be where the traditional drop-off area is, where you come in by the first roundabout and where the taxi where the taxi loading area would be. That's where it is, where the bathroom is. They are exiting there, and so they actually start from Cheers, which is basically the bottom of Port Zante, and they're walking up.
While this would be helpful to Port Zante merchants, Brown emphasized that passenger spending could be lower than normal.
The ships are coming with 40 to 60% of persons. That's the first thing. We see people, and it's the general expectations that persons are going to be shopping as they shopped previously. They're going through, even though they took a vacation because they want a vacation, they too have financial constraints, so they're being extremely frugal in what they're purchasing. Thirdly, we also have to take into consideration that they're going to other ports, and there's something called competition. And they're choosing what they want, where they want to spend their money. It is going to get better, but I think we have to take into consideration what COVID has done economically. And some of these persons had cruise trips from in 2020, but they're postponed to now. And so, yes, they have their trip, but maybe they don't have the economic means that they probably had. It's been 18 months. We don't know what is going on. So the same situation that many of us are facing here, the world is facing it. You see in the United States that there's an increase in inflation. Persons are choosing whether or not what jobs they take when they go back to work, even though they may have vacations that they're taking, that they've paid for. So in their phased approach to resuming cruise.
Since the reopening of cruise tourism in the Federation, the number of calls have moved from 2 calls in July with 236 passengers to 17 calls so far in November, bringing 23,040 passengers. Glenn Bard reporting for SKN Newsline.
The second annual Ultimate Shift Summit held on the weekend was deemed a success, as we hear in this report. It's Your Time is the theme of the second annual Ultimate Shift Summit organized by Bel Air, an organization dedicated to motivating and inspiring people. CEO of Bel Air, Clarissa Bell, spoke to SK Newsline Saturday, day 2 of the summit, where she explained how this year's event unfolded.
You know, it's really mind-blowing for me. I picked up a mantle that honestly, somewhere along the line, I thought that I would fall with it, because everybody keep telling me, Clarissa, this is too much. Why are you doing so much? But as I usually tell them, it wasn't a conference call. God had that call for me specifically, and I have to do what I was called to do. And when I really look at last year compared to this year, I really have to say it has been quite a growing process. and I appreciate the growth. I appreciate the struggles. I appreciate the heartaches that it came with, because at the end of the day, I am able to be a witness, not just to my self-development and growth, but to be able to be a witness to the growth and the development of others, the persons in the room, the persons online. You know, we've been receiving messages, calls, and it's just amazing to know that when you think that your story is hampering, it's actually the complete opposite. You're able to share a testimony.
She said the goal of the ultimate shift is to change the cultural norms of people in the region and around the world.
As human beings, we think that we're just here to live, breathe, eat, sleep, die. You know, it's a cycle, this never-ending cycle, like you're on a treadmill but you're not moving. The ultimate shift, the vision for it, is to be able to move throughout the Caribbean. That's the first step. Move throughout the islands of the Caribbean and then move throughout the continents across the globe. We're going to have the ultimate shift BVI, the ultimate shift St. Martin, you know, the ultimate shift UK. And the idea of it is, like I said, to really dismantle the norm, to help people to understand that you have a purpose, and your purpose extends further than just the 9 to 5. It's not all about that. There's something here, and there's a gift, there's a solution that you are here to solve. And until that is done, then your work is never done. You understand what I mean? And this is, with the ultimate shift, we're here to really tap you back into really living, not just sitting on the sidelines, not just being an observer, because you can only observe for so long.
Clarissa Bell, who is also a life coach, was one of the speakers this year, which included Coach Thabiso from South Africa, Gavin Jean, an entrepreneur from Anguilla, and Pastor Bernard Boland. The event was held at the Halal Praise Worship Tabernacle in Nismust. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. When we come back, 2 of the 17 kidnapped missionaries in Haiti released. Regional news when we return. Come get your fresh smoothie at Master Mix Smoothie in Bastyr at 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Get a fresh, all-natural, healthy and tasty smoothie with flavors of your choice. Master Mix Smoothie knows the flavors that you like and mixes it all up for you the way you want it. Master Mix Smoothie, 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Master Mix Smoothie, always the real thing, always smoothie. Want to buy some fresh fruits, vegetables, or ground provision, but don't have the time to go to the market or even to find parking? Look no further. Green Market and Delivery is your solution. Green Market and Delivery is an e-commerce store that sells and delivers local produce to customers in St. Kitts and Nevis. Anything you purchase, you can get fresh from the market and delivered directly to your door. Log on to www.greenmarketskn.com. Click on the e-store link, choose your items, and shop away. We have a wide array of products from fruits, vegetables, local products, spices and seasonings, and much more. Save time and energy. Shop on greenmarketskn.com, your one-stop shop for fresh local produce.
The official launch of this development took place in the city of Leeds, England on August 26 of 2017. Dion and Associates chose me to be the master of ceremonies at that launch. And at that time, I predicted that this development will be an ultra-modern, exclusive, luxurious residences, duty-free shops, and museum. I said it was going to happen. The second phase took place right here where we are standing 14 months later on October 27, 2018 with the groundbreak. And here right now with the opening ceremony. And I'm standing here at this podium again exactly 3 years and 2 days since the groundbreaking ceremony. And so with these few words, I want to again say welcome to all of you to this official opening of Belmont Gardens development, and congratulations to Dion and Associates and his entire team. May God bless you.
Now to news across the Caribbean. 2 of the 17 members of a U.S.-based missionary group held hostage in Haiti since mid-October have been released. NBC Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell reports for the Today Show.
Overnight, 2 missionaries taken hostage in Haiti last month now free. Christian Aid Ministries confirming the 2 individuals are safe, in good spirits, and being cared for. The Ohio-based nonprofit withholding any identifying details about the 2 for security purposes. 16 U.S. citizens and 1 Canadian were abducted more than a month ago, from 8 months to 15 years old. The group kidnapped at gunpoint by a notorious street gang that had asked for a $17 million ransom, $1 million for each person. This video, posted last month, shows the leader of the gang threatening to shoot the hostages if his demands were not met. While U.S. federal agencies have been working closely with Haitian authorities to negotiate the safe release of the hostages, the White House has cited long-standing U.S. policy not to pay ransom. Mass abductions for money have become widespread in Haiti. In Port-au-Prince, it's estimated that gangs now control about half. Now, with 2 people free, the hope is the rest of the hostages will soon be released without incident.
In recent weeks, the American and Canadian embassies have both asked their citizens to leave Haiti due to a surge in violence. Today, the White House and State Department are withholding further details about the hostage release, clearly concerned about any comment that could impact the release of those still being held. Hoda?
All right, Andrea Mitchell for us in D.C. Andrea, thank you.
On the topic of public servant salary increases in Guyana, it would appear as though the general public is not quite satisfied with the 7% increase. As such, following a bold announcement on Thursday, politicians and other members of the public took to social media to lambast the government over what is being touted as a shameful increase. Kendall Richmond of HBTV in Guyana has the details.
On Wednesday, senior minister in the office of the president made mention of a number of plans to tout what the government has in the pipeline to improve the quality of life for all Guyanese. However, in announcing a number of plans, including a $400 million cash payout for frontline healthcare workers, one specific announcement rang very hollow and was not entirely embraced by the members of the public.
Third, I'm pleased to announce now that your government will be paying an across-the-board discipline services, constitutional office holders, as well as government pensioners.
It was previously announced by President Irfan Ali that public servants in end were very disgruntled with the minister touting a
civilian government of technocrats and promised to release all political detainees. But as the deal was announced, demonstrators in Khartoum chanted that Hamdok had sold the revolution. Pro-democracy groups have been demanding full civilian rule since the ouster of longtime leader Omar al-Bashir in 2019. And protesters like Shahinaz Gamal want the military completely excluded from the political process.
We are marching towards the presidential palace to reject what is happening. Up ahead, we can hear the sound of tear gas and bullets. So we will continue resisting, and we will not settle down until all militia groups are dissolved and until we completely exclude the military from the political process.
Tens of thousands took part in scheduled protests in the capital and twin cities Omdurman and Bahri. Witnesses said security forces fired bullets and tear gas. But Hamdok's reinstatement has been welcomed by the likes of the United States, Britain, the European Union and the United Nations. Western powers had condemned the October 25th coup, in which Hamdok was placed under house arrest, and suspended support for the economically struggling country. Hamdok said on Sunday he had agreed to the deal to prevent more casualties. Burhan says the new agreement will be inclusive, though it made no mention of the Forces of Freedom and Change. That is the civilian coalition that shared power with the military before the coup. The FFC said it did not recognise any agreement with the military.
Now to news in sports. Qatar is marking 1 year until the first match kicks off at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. A countdown clock has been unveiled at a celebration in the capital Doha. The Gulf country has been preparing for the tournament since winning the bid in 2010. It will be the first time the World Cup will be played in a Middle East nation. Al Jazeera's Dorsa Jabari reports.
The countdown is officially underway to the biggest football tournament in the world. The 2022 FIFA World Cup will be hosted in Qatar from November 21st until December 18th. But the excitement has already begun.
Prejudice that exists towards